I was an actor in England, and I needed to have a second string to my bow, because as an actor you always know you're going to be unemployed, at least when you first start out. So my second love in life was dogs, and I began a dog walking business.
Right.
So I started walking one dog a day, and by the end of the month I was walking 20 dogs a day. I was one of the first dog walkers in London, and I saw the great need that people needed people like me to be able to exercise their animals during the day. Otherwise their animals weren't getting out. Otherwise their animals were stuck in crates or in the home all day, being destructive, chewing sofas and furniture and shoes and things like that. I think both British owners and American owners are very similar. They all have a passion for pets. But I think there's one major difference, and the major difference is that I think that Britain is further forward in the training techniques that we use. I think dogs are the same as humans, that we still, even my age, I'm still learning things that we always learn. So, but you know, basically, it really doesn't take long to teach a puppy how to do basic obedience training, to have basic manners, to walk well on a leash. I don't want to generalize because every dog is different, but I would say within a couple of months, by the time your pup's 6 months old, you really can have a really great grounding. Now, it's also important to remember that whether your dog's neutered or not, they're going to go through behavioral changes as they grow, exactly like humans, as we grow into adulthood. Around 6 months, around 12 months, 18 months of age, 2 years of age, those behavioral changes can occur. So you might have to add extra training, and then it depends on where you want to take your dog. Do you want to do agility? Do you want to do flyball? All that kind of stuff. It's wonderful for me to see a family that has been having major arguments over their animal, and the animal's completely out of control, chewing up the household or aggressing at one of the members of the family or something like that, and I come in and I change it. I change it and I leave it in a much better place. The dog's much happier and the family's much happier, and that happens again and again and again. So I can't really single out one time, though I have to say there was one guy who lived, a guy called Victor, who lived in California, and he rescued these 2 pit bulls before they were going to be put down, and but they were chewing up his whole apartment. He didn't have a lot of money, and he was beside himself. They really were his family because he didn't have any family, and he thought he was going to have to give them up. It was changing that situation around, that they became more manageable, more controllable. He was happier, the house wasn't getting eaten up, and somebody saw him on the show. He went for a job interview, I think it was at a studios, and the person who was interviewing him said, "I saw you on the show, I love you, I love your dogs," and he got the jobs. And I get emails from places like Dubai and Estonia, Brazil, everywhere, Hong Kong. I've traveled to a couple of places. I went to Hong Kong a couple of years ago to help out a rescue shelter there because they'd seen my program. I really love that. I love the fact now that even in places like Italy, where they really haven't had that greater history with their dogs in actually treating them well, places like Italy are turning around now. And that's really great for me to see that the program's been so successful everywhere. I have a lot of respect for all kinds of dogs, whether they're large dogs or they're small dogs, whatever behavior problems they have. Obviously, if you're working with an aggressive dog, you have to be extremely careful. But I have been bitten a few times, but the amount of dogs that I've worked with over 15 years, I think I've only actually been bitten twice, and with the amount of aggressive dogs that I've worked with, I think that's a pretty great result. And it's just that I respect the dog and I work in tune with the dog so that I really turn that dog's aggressive response around.
What do you think is a good age to start training your puppy?
Yeah, you know, 8 weeks. As soon as you get that puppy home, train it. You've got your primary socialization window, which really is from the time a puppy's born until about 14 to 16 weeks old. So when the brain is like a sponge, it's when the dog or the puppy is really excited about exploring, and it is, if new people come into the room, for example, is most likely going to go up and say hello to them. At around 16 weeks to about 20 weeks, the puppy begins to be a little bit more cautious. Okay, who are you coming into my home? I don't know you. So that's why it's really important to socialize the dog and give the dog really good experiences, but before that window starts, before that caution starts. Because if you don't give your puppy a lot of pleasurable experiences around all kinds of people and all different kinds of environments and all kinds of situations before that age, it's going to start to fear of the unknown. Domestication means that we have got these animals to a point where they can cope with the unknown. If you think about wolves or wild dogs, they're very, very shy animals. They shy away from new people and new environments and new things. Domestication means that we have these animals that can cope with it. So that's why it's really important. That's the first thing you train your puppy, and you start at 8 weeks old. I'm Victoria Stilwell with Unleash Magazine.